Part 1. Task Force Radio. What is it and how do we use it? Well, today you're going to learn how to change proximity volumes. You're going to learn how to change the volume of your radio. You're going to learn how to set it from speakers to headphones, left and right ear only, etc. And you're also going to learn how to set frequencies and set additional frequencies and how to broadcast using the Task Force Radio. Task Force Radio is required for CF Company. This is how we do all of our communications, and without it we'd just be lost. Plus it adds to the immersion factor, and proper radio communication and technique is a valuable asset to squad communications, and also various communications between the HQ element and vice versa. You know, there's endless possibilities for Task Force Radio, and we really do need it. So today we're going to figure out how to change and use the Task Force Radio to the best of our abilities. This is part of bootcamp training and is required. So let's go. First things first, I will check to see if I have a radio, and I do. Down at the bottom here we've got the AN/PRC-1521 personal radio with the effective range of up to 5 kilometers. This is perfect. Now, after checking your inventory, if you do have the correct radio, to bring up your radio interface, if you hold left control at the bottom left of your keyboard and then tap P for Papa, this will bring up your radio. Now you can use your mouse, you can hover around, you can do various different funky things. First things first, if we hover over the antenna in the middle, or the dial rather, we can increase volume and decrease volume. If I left click in the bottom right, you'll notice that the volume comes down. If I right click, you'll notice the volume comes up. Cool, right? Volume is very good. Obviously, if you turn your radio down, you can then hear other squad members whilst the radio is active, so it'll enable you to absorb a lot more information. If you have it too high, you're not going to hear contact calls from the guy next to you if he's not using his radio. So have a play, get the best volume for yourselves, and yeah, you'll be set. Right, so that's how to change the volume. But first, let me just escape and come out the menu to proximity chat. Now, what proximity chat does is people can talk globally without pushing the radio, and you can hear them as long as they're within talking range. Now, obviously, if there was a guy over in that building over there on proximity and he's shouting my name, I'm not going to hear him because I'm not close enough, just like the real world. Now, if he was stood right in front of me, I would hear him, but it all depends on the distance of the guy communicating with you and what setting you have. Now, to change your proximity settings, if you hold left control and press tab, you'll see an icon in the bottom right. That current one with 3 lines means I'm on yelling. So obviously somebody can hear me further away because I'm yelling. Would you believe it? Let's try it again. Control and tab, that puts me on whisper. Now somebody can hear me who's very close, but if they start to walk away from me, they're going to cease to hear me. And then you've got normal, which is general chit chat, you know, like you would in your living room. Just general chat, you're not shouting anybody. So I always recommend you have it on yelling whilst operating in the squad. When you do enter the server, however, I would highly advise you switch to normal, because there is going to be a lot of people in a small confined space, and you're going to hear everybody talking bullshit. What they had for tea last night, what they plan on doing when the op's finished, you know, and it's irrelevant. You don't want to hear it. Plus, if you're hearing everybody else, you're not going to be able to effectively communicate with your squad leader or your fire team leader. So always make sure when you first enter the server to switch to normal. When the op starts, just change it, switch it up to yelling, and you are ready to go. So that in a nutshell is proximity. You've got whisper, normal and yelling. Just use common sense. Right, you know how to change the volume on the radio, so left control and P again. As I explained earlier, right click and left click to raise and decrease the volume. Now what we can do now is set a frequency. Now the standard operational frequency for CF Company is 333, and with your mouse you can just highlight the frequency and change it to 333. To set the frequency you need to click enter. You see the tooltip saying set frequency. I'd recommend you hit that about 5 times, 6 times, 10 times, whatever, because Task Force Radio sometimes won't register the click, and you'll be running around without communications and you won't realise until somebody double checks with you. So spam that enter button, set the frequency, get it sorted. Now control P again, no sorry, scrap that, escape to exit the menu. Now you are set to your correct frequency. To broadcast over Task Force Radio, simply use caps lock. As you can see, I'm transmitting on that frequency, which is set to channel 1 using the correct radio. Once you release caps lock, you will cease to transmit. Nice and easy. When somebody's broadcasting, you will hear it. It sounds like a radio, you know, they've done a good job with Task Force. But it all adds to the immersion factor, I feel. But yeah, left caps lock, that'll get you transmitting on the correct frequency that you've set previously. Now let's go back into Task Force, which is left control and P. Now you've got, where is it, speakers. This little arrow here will change. If you look on the bottom right, it will change from headphones and speakers. Headphones, again, common sense. If you're wearing headphones, you're the only guy who can hear the broadcast, which is how we like it. If you set it to speakers, everybody around you who's within range of hearing the transmission will hear it, and it does confuse quite a lot of members. So I'd highly recommend that you leave it on headphones. If we want to set up an additional frequency, let's say you need to communicate with your squad or your team or something like that, but you've also been lumbered with an additional role of communicating with another section, another squad, be it platoon medic or anything like that, then obviously the last thing you want to do is lose the frequency that you've got, which is set to 333. So to get around this, what we will do is set up an additional frequency. Now to do this, if you just come out of your menu, now on your number pad on the right of the keyboard, if you are rich and not poor, if you press number 2, this will change to channel 2, as you can see in the bottom right. Now if you open up your Task Force interface again, what we can do is change the frequency for channel 2. For example's sake, let's say the additional frequency you want to use is 444. That's fine, and we'll just set the frequency again by spamming hell out the enter button and press escape. Now you have channel 1, which is set to 333, and channel 2, which is set to 444. Now if you don't believe me, we'll test it. Channel 1, by pressing 1 on your number pad on the right, you can see channel 1, frequency 333. Now if you press 2, you can see it's changed to 444. Look, channel 2, frequency 444. Now here's where it gets interesting, because obviously you want to hear both frequencies. If you're communicating with your squad on 333 and the platoon medic is trying to contact you or anybody else that's on that frequency, you're not going to hear them because you're currently only listening to channel 1. Now to do this, what we can do is set an additional frequency. So you'll have two frequencies on the same rodeo. Rodeo? What's a rodeo? On the same radio, rather. And you'll be able to hear the two. However, the last thing you want is if there's two people broadcasting, one on 333 and one on 444 at the same time, it's going to sound like a garbled mess. So to do this, let's just go through it and set up the additional frequency. If you see, make sure you've got channel 2 selected, which is 444, and then set additional frequency or set additional channel, which is down here. So if we click that, as you can see, it's changed to A2. Right, now this is an additional frequency, hence the alpha 2. Now if we hit escape and exit the radio, hold caps lock, and I've fucked up. No, to the light, press 1 on your number pad, please. Switch back to channel 1. And then if you hold caps locks, you'll see that you're broadcasting on channel 1 on 333. Release to stop broadcasting. Now to broadcast on the additional frequency, just hold T for Tango on your keyboard, and as you can see, we're broadcasting on the additional channel, which is 2 on a frequency of 444. That's great. So we have both of them working. You will hear both broadcasts through the same radio without having to switch back and forth. To broadcast on your squad frequency is caps lock. To broadcast to the additional frequency is T. Now, currently, they're both coming through, because you've got everything set to headphones, so they're both going to be flooding in through headphones. What I would advise to do is, if you bring up your task force again, we're currently on channel 1. Now what we can do is stereo settings. If we click stereo settings, you can see we have left and right, left only, right only. I would set channel 1 to left only and then press escape. Now if you press 2 on your number pad to change to channel 2, the additional frequency, and then control P again, and let's do the same with this. However, we will switch it to the right only and escape. And that is that. Your radio is now fully functional, fully set up, listening to two frequencies. So let me just double check. Now I need to go back to channel 1 by pressing 1 on the number pad, bring up the radio, and we sat on channel 1. So caps lock will broadcast through channel 1, and any transmissions that come through 333 will play through your left headphone, and T will broadcast through channel 2, frequency 444, which is the additional channel, and anything broadcast through that frequency will come through your right headphone. Nice and easy. Again, this is basically, it's just essential needs for the task force radio. The more you do it, the more you'll become familiar with it, and it becomes second nature. But please, if you do struggle, just go back through, follow the steps, you know, and it'll become easier and easier. So thank you very much. That is part 1 complete, which is your task force radio. The next video will be regarding formations and spacing, which will be a bit longer. So thanks for watching, welcome to CF Company, and I'll see you soon.